Well, on this final day of Davos, there have still been some heavy hitters in town, Jamie. IMF Chief Kristalina Georgieva, Germany's Finance Minister Christian Lindner, and the European Central Bank Chief Christine Lagarde, who talked about changing patterns in trade and the global economy moving from normalisation to non-normality. Well, in a session on the global economic outlook, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, was upbeat about trade, about global trade, and that's despite all of the unpredictability and the geopolitical tensions.
It has been a force for resilience. There's digital trade and services trade is growing fast, especially digitally delivered services trade, growing at 8% per annum. And that is a very, very interesting thing, because now we're all talking of digital platforms, AI, and this is a positive sign. Green trade has tripled from 2000 to now, tripled in value to $1.9 trillion. That's another opportunity. And finally, I want to say that the reshaping of supply chains, I see that as an opportunity and not a challenge.
Now, the big theme all week has been about rebuilding trust in an increasingly polarised world. You'll remember that China's Premier Li Qiang talked about that lack of trust as aggravating risks to global growth, and that's something that was echoed by Azerbaijan's economy minister, Mikhail Jabarov. He spoke to me in an exclusive interview for CGTN earlier today.
I think global economy and global growth needs predictability, and in that sense, the growing security challenges, unilateral actions of individual member states of the trading system clearly does impact negatively economic growth. And in that sense, I think the importance of forum like this one is exactly in having a right platform for public and private sector to come across, share the views, and definitely more predictability, security and stability would never hurt for economic growth and development, but in fact would be reasons that will fuel it.
Well, with that predictability, stability and security, there needs to be trust. So say all of the delegates who I've been talking to here at the World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos. But against the very uncertain geopolitical backdrop, I asked the WEF Managing Director, Jeremy Jurgens, if that trust is really within reach.
It depends where you look at. I think we see progress, but of course, if you look at the geopolitical situation, ongoing war in Ukraine, effectively a war in Gaza and Israel now, and situation is very fragile in many places around the world. And we're also going into a period of elections in many countries with citizens and I think 4.2 billion population entering into various elections. So there's a lot of uncertainty on that geopolitical outlook. And I think trust and dialogue are more needed than any time before.
Well, chiming in with that uncertainty, China's Premier Li Qiang said that the world's entered a new period of turbulence and of transformation. Do we have the tools to find our way through that?
And I think one of the first tools is actually the importance of dialogue. And, dialogue will precede cooperation, which the Premier also referred to. And, what I was, positively felt here at the meeting was that there was a willingness to dialogue, even among groups that would not necessarily traditionally speak to each other or that have a,
Groups like who?
Well, I'll take one from AI. You have the proprietary AI models and you have the open source models. And if you look outside, very different debates on there. But we were able actually to come around and say, look, we need some regulation. We need a broader governance that goes beyond regulation. And, there's actually room or space for both of these areas to come together and collaborate.
Now, if there was one thing that's been discussed here in Davos that you could say, right, next year we would have achieved that. Next year in Davos 2025, look what we did, what would that one thing be?
Yeah, I would hope we can take the discussions that we've had here and focus on unlocking the opportunities that are available, that we can improve the quality of lives of individuals, whether that's in the area of education, healthcare, so many other areas. And other projects we did launch here, we launched a big program on healthcare, another program on digital inclusion, skills training. Continue to deliver against all three of those, I think I'll be happy.
So 3 things, not one thing.
Delivery, that's the number one deliverable, is delivery itself.